It's on my bucket list to have an intimate bonfire with a big group of friends and family and document it, and maybe even interview some people. Bonfires are always something special, especially when you are with those closest to you. Family and friends are everything to me, and such a rich intimacy with people is priceless. All these interviews are real-life examples of the impact someone can have in another's life. They show that someone's words or actions can carry a type of weight, whether good or bad. From a nasty remark that bursts new insecurities to an encouraging word that sings a melody of life. Something as simple as a sentence or a smile can hold a lifelong significance. Our lives are made of pieces of laughter as well as pain. The question is, which piece are you? We can all recall times of joy and times of grief, but I believe there is something sweeter in creating a memory for someone else. One of inspiration and not of doubt. One of comfort and not of despair. One of love and not of hate. I hope and pray that we can be the light to someone in desperate need of it. I pray that I can be that light.
There was one instance where I was in high school and I was a wrestler, and there was one wrestling tournament that I ended up doing that I ended up losing like 6-7 matches in a row.
Honestly, the first person that comes to mind is Nicole. I don't know, growing up in a single parent home, like my mom worked really hard and Nicole was just always there for me, so she understood like what was going on at home and what was going on with me no matter where we were. It's kind of a built-in like best friend, you know?
Somebody that has impacted me most is my best friend Stephanie. And the reason being is because she's been through a lot health-wise. She's had a couple open heart surgeries and almost died, and she had to have a surgery that after the open heart surgery to get clots out of her lungs. And she, throughout all of it, she has always been joyful and thankful and just appreciative of what God has given her.
Yeah, I look up to my dad probably the most because of how he's taught me to become a man and what it means to be a man, and the grit that it takes in putting somebody else before you, you know, and the patience in that and meekness.
The person who's impacted me the most is Ashley, my sister. Ashley and I, we shared a room for 16 years, and she's the one person that I've been able to be very just bluntly honest with. But I just also know that there's nothing that I could do that would be too far outside of her reach to help me or to be there for me. I'm already crying. And there's moments that I've been through in my life that was extremely hard, that I didn't think I was gonna get through.
The very last match was an extremely tough match, and I went into it extremely upset, extremely pissed off, extremely mad. So I went in, started beating the crap out of this kid, and he was beating the crap out of me. I had a black eye, my nose was bleeding, my lips were all cut. We were headbutting each other back and forth. It was just one of those matches that was extremely brutal. And I ended up losing that match too. After I tried the hardest I have ever tried in my life, while being exhausted, I still lost.
A guy that's impacted my life a lot was one of our old pastors at the first church that we started going to, named Kerry O'Brien. I wasn't a Christian when I was attending, and he never judged me, and he knew I drank, he knew I cussed, he knew I wasn't, a very good husband to Andrea, or a very good guy to Andrea, but, was very accepting of me.
And so I've watched her go through that experience, and not even knowing if I was going to be able to have more time with her, because she was given 5 years, and looking back, that was probably about 20 years ago.
There's a couple moments that have impacted my life that have to do with mom, and most of them were during high school. when I would come home and be really stressed and not want to talk to anybody and just want to isolate myself.
She'll sacrifice whatever she has for herself on her table and she'll give it to someone else. And it's just, it's crazy, and I can't even compare to her in that area, because that's who she is. And to have that growing up, to be like being just so lost and confused in different parts of my life, and just having that rock meant a lot to me. So
I didn't want to go into that match, and my dad told me to suck it up and go wrestle that match. Right there, it taught me that no matter what I face, I need to go in and finish the job. Whether I lose or win, I need to go finish the job. But that wasn't the part that was significant to me. The part that was significant was after that wrestling match, when I was beaten, bruised, and just bleeding and crying. I didn't want to talk to anybody.
We were driving somewhere and I got kind of mad at him. I'm like, how come you've never thrown the Bible at my face? You're supposed to be a pastor. Like, what's your problem? And he said, you're not ready for that. And you're ready for me to be, just someone who loves on you and demonstrates God. And you don't need someone to tell you what the Bible says. You need someone to show what the Bible shows.
I'm just thankful, and I look at what she's gone through, and it just makes me remember that there isn't anything that I can't go through without God, because God is the one who got her through that.
I got used to people not wanting to know how you are doing. Like, when you grow up, it just becomes a thing that you just get used to it, people not caring, like how you're feeling and how you're doing. And that's something that Mom always wants to know, she always wants to know how you're doing.
I really looked up to my grandma a lot growing up. She passed away a few years ago, but she was always so joyful. Besides my grandfather, she is probably the one person who has been through the most difficult life that I think I've ever seen. She had nothing, but she wanted to give everything to people. I just remember just her laugh. It's just one of those people where you instantly feel comfortable and at home and just happy around, which is also something, ironically, that I've found in Gunner. He has such a passion for life that I feel like I've kind of lost that a little bit. Not completely. And he just has this just optimistic, but it's not, a foolish optimism. It's just this faithful confidence that, things will work out. Life is going to be fine. And that's given me such just like I can breathe. I
went to the stands, and normally a parent would say, you'll get it next time or something like that. But Dad just came and sat right next to me, and he just started crying, just weeping. And he just cried with me. He realized that, no words could help me in that moment, because I felt so crappy about myself. And he'd already told me to try harder. He'd already told me to suck it up. He'd already told me, all these things, but he realized in that moment that the best thing to do was just to cry with me. I think the most powerful thing you can do is, through any emotion, through anything that someone's going through, is just being there for them physically, and just sharing that emotion with them.
Then I came home and she actually asked me, how are you doing? And I just broke down. You might not even remember what you were going through, but you just remember that somebody was there for you. So who's somebody that's impacted your life?
I would say, it's going to sound funny or weird, but I would have to say my dad, just because of how he was. Because people can impact you in really positive ways, or with a singular moment. but he did both. When I look back at some of the things he did, and he had some good qualities, and then other ways, you know, he's a real crappy dad and a real crappy father. I would say he was the most impactful person in my life.
Everybody's asleep right now, so I'm gonna try and be quiet. I just wanted to say thank you for watching this video. I put my heart and soul into creating it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. We didn't get as many interviews as we had hoped, but you don't have to watch this video to get an interview. You can go and talk to your parents or your grandparents or friends and hear their stories, because they're all meant to be heard, as well as yours. We hope this video impacted you guys and motivated you to be more aware of your actions and words and how they impact people. We love you guys, and from the Now or Never family, it's now or never.